This video is sponsored by Tarot Stack. Hey there, Cozy Babe, and welcome into the coziest corner of the internet. My name is Kloee Taylor, and today we are going to be getting the truth from your spirit guides. So if you have been struggling to get answers from them, if you've been praying to them, wanting some signs, some synchronicities, you are drawn to this reading, and we are going to get to the bottom of that today. But before we get into it, I do need you just to pick one of these letter symbols. In fact, this one is not part of it. There is only 3 letters that I have. So it's a 1, 2, or 3 with these symbols. Because before we even get into the card reading, I actually channeled some written word for y'all. And if you're unfamiliar with this, basically I did some automatic writing channeled from spirit. I have 3 different letters here from your guides, and I channeled these honestly probably a couple of years ago, and then I never used them because the time just didn't feel right. And when I channeled through what this message should be, Spirit reminded me of this. And I was like, okay, it's time for the people to know the truth. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first symbol, which is, Spirit, please speak to me and through me. How do I get my spark back? So those of you that are struggling with your spark, maybe if you don't even know if that's something you've been struggling with, this is just the message you need to hear. So you first must understand that it never left. Your spark is you, and you are still here existing. What you are describing isn't what you think it is. The spark you ask of is your heart, your vital energy, your joy. You haven't let your senses be filled in so long, you've forgotten what it feels like. You must remember joy, first in small ways. Sometimes in automatic writing, the writing gets a little sloppy. Joy is always present, and it is something you must choose. The way your favorite things feel, plus fill out your space. The way the sun kisses the earth, the way a cat purrs, the way the trees sway, the way a cold food feels on a hot summer day. You must start to notice the joy in your everyday. At first, it will feel gray and dark, as that is the frequency you are omitting. But little by little, your world, like magic, will become color again. Choose it. And in this written exercise that I did with Spirit, I saw images of people in black and white becoming color again. Like this was the image that was given to me. So that is your letter, pile number 1. Pile number 2, this is your letter from Spirit. We are proud of you. The heavens cheer and clap for your reached milestone. You have walked so far in your shoes, and we are proud. The gifts you receive now are what are rightfully yours. Let this glory wash over you, and allow yourself to fully feel this joy and this win. Lift your heart and hands to the sky and send your energy up. Let all that glitters saturate you now, for this is your time to shine and rejoice. The lightness, I gotta flip the page, in your body will help lead you forward on your current path. We are with you. We will continue to help you. And then I got mental imaging of champion winners, a fight, like winning some kind of like championed fight, confetti, victory wreath, Greek toned man with his fist in the air with a satisfying like victory cry. So this was imaging that I got for you, pile number 2. So take in that message. And letter number 3, yours is like the messiest. Like I need you just to see, like, look at how the handwriting got really crazy in here. Yours might be a little bit hard for me to read because of that, but I'm going to do my best. You are just starting to bloom again. You've already done the breaking and cracking open and turning towards the sun. Now you must simply let yourself bloom. You are scared to trust, as your season of loss has been great, but it is time to trust again. From your planted seeds, you will grow. Goodness is on its way to you. Your bloom is protected. No amount of, actually, I feel like this says quieting. This questioning. See, I told you it was going to take me a second. No amount of questioning this goodness is going to get the results you hope for. You must begin to trust yourself again. Trust yourself and your spirit. Ask for what you deserve and trust that it is coming. Your time of growth is finally here. Behave like it. It's time for things to churn around. This is my winning season. And then I kept seeing something about like a rose and it being protected. And also it being like held prisoner by you. Like it was like you were overprotecting yourself, and in this image you need to like let yourself bloom outside of that cage. So those were the different letters that I got from spirit. I know this is very different from my normal standard content, but I wanted to include those in this video because I just really felt like it was time to share them. So letters 1, 2, and 3. Now, moving on to the reading, we are just going to be doing a singular reading today, and this is going to be truth from your spirit guides. That's like the main theme we're going with today. So we're actually going to start with this deck. And before we get into your reading, I do just need to give a special thank you to our sponsor, Tarot Stack. Tarot Stack is an online platform where you can actually purchase tarot decks that are from indie creators. So you're going to find decks like this one is there, which like, oh my gosh, the imagery for this deck is so righteous. Every deck that we use today is actually from Tarot Stack. So if you're looking for something that you definitely won't find anywhere else that is unique, the card stock is always good. The cards, like I literally use tarot decks every day of my life. I would say 90% of my decks are decks that are from Tarot Stack. None of them are falling apart. The imagery is great. The card stock is great. And I always have very like unique decks that you wouldn't find anywhere else. So if you're looking for a new tarot deck to add to your collection, be sure to give Tarot Stack a look. Link for that down below, as well as every deck that we use today in the order that it appears will be linked. So thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for continuing to work with us. I love you so much, and thank you for being a long-term supporter of this channel. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into where you are right now. So what's going on? We have is this the Ace? This is the Ace of Wands. At first I was like, is this? Yeah, it's the Ace of Wands. Sorry, I had to look at it a little closer. So we have the Ace of Wands. We have the Seven of Cups. Come on. There we go. The Seven of Cups. Ooh, the Star. Oh my gosh, this is so on point. And then we have the Four of Cups. Listen, bestie, where we are right now, which we'll get into more. All right, bestie, this is where you currently are in life. And I'm not Willy Wonka. I do not make candy at the candy factory. If you're looking to be coddled in this reading, you're not going to get it. So skip this one, go to another one. I have plenty of readings on my channel that are significantly gentler than these. But I am definitely in a place of my life where when I channel through spirit, I definitely feel like I attach to more, I don't want to say aggressive spirit guides, but I don't think that the way that we do spirit guides in today's modern world, where we think everybody is airy-fairy and angelic, is real. I think that sometimes we have ancestor guides that come through that have some shit to say that you need to hear. And I feel like I work a lot on the ancestral level currently. Like that's where I feel the most comfortable, is helping you to be empowered by experiences from ancestors past that have something to say. So just pointing that out at the beginning of this video. So if you feel like you're not in a space to hear some things that you might need to hear that might be harsh truths, maybe don't listen to this one. But that being said, where you are in life right now, you are treating yourself like a victim of circumstance. And I'm not talking about people that actually are victims, because what we're not going to do on this channel is victim blame people. So if that's the headspace that you're in right now and you're feeling that, this video is not for you. This reading is not for you. The people that I need to talk to are the people that are sick of living in their own victimhood, that are ready to be survivors, I don't know why I said that weird. But here's the thing. What you are not changing, you are choosing. And when I see the Seven of Cups, this is not one of my favorite cards to see, truthfully, especially when it's for a current circumstance. I know some people love this card. I have a friend, in fact, in this industry that loves this card. I don't read it that way. I personally see the Seven of Cups as chaos, not for funsies. It's chaos that what we're not choosing What we're not changing, we're choosing. And I say that because you also have it paired with the Four of Cups, which is the universe keeps trying to give you opportunities to change, and you keep not taking it. You keep not going for it. The Ace of Wands tells me that that's really what's needed right now. What's needed right now is just a choice to be made. A choice needs to be made because when you don't make a choice, the universe makes it for you, and it's not always the choice that you want. And this might be something that you've even learned from past ancestors of just not choosing and choosing to, because not choosing is still a choice, right? And when you don't choose, like I said, the universe often makes that choice for you, but not choosing is still a choice. And you think you're keeping yourself safe by playing small, but you're not. And the thing is, you're creating less safety. You're creating more chaos by not taking control of your life. And you keep thinking that these blessings that you're asking for are going to pour into your life from this like anonymous source outside of you. When the reality is, it's time for you to grab life by the balls and do something. Because there's actually a lot of choice in front of you. You're just not executing on it. I say that because the Seven of Cups is having a lot of opportunities being given to you, but you saying no for one reason or another. Like, life will literally put the right circumstances and the right people in front of you. And I think something that people don't get is you'll say, God, I really want a cake. And then God gives you the eggs, the flour, the milk, the oil, the oven. And then you just sit there and go, oh, but I can't do it. Girl, you were given all the ingredients in the entire recipe. What are you doing squandering it? This is something that gets me really fired up because I can't stand when people refuse to rise to their potential. It's something that I think is actually like, I'm not trying to sit here and just brag, but like, just so you can understand my energy too. I honestly think that this is like a gift that I have in this lifetime is to challenge people because I can't stand it when I watch other people not go after their dreams. It pisses me off. I can't stand it when I hear people succumb to their own bullshit stories that they didn't even write for themselves. And you deserve to live the life that you want to live. You literally came here to fulfill that. And don't squander a minute of it. You know, obviously take breaks when it's necessary, but like this to me is the energy of squandering it, bestie. So what are we doing? I need more cards. We need to understand what's happening here because I feel like you are not taking control. You're succumbing to the chaos. You're succumbing to overwhelm. There's a lot of like, oh, but I can't fix it. Too many things are wrong. And if you just started with one thing, you would see how things would shift. And I also need to say while I'm shuffling this, sometimes you need to also like how do I say this? You have to, in order for the right things to come into your life, you have to say no to what you don't want. And this is probably one of the harder choices you have to make with your life. But let me give you an example, okay? I used to do private readings. A lot of y'all know that. I did private readings for the last like 2 or 3 years. And actually, probably more than that because I used to do private readings before I ever had a website. And when I first started doing it, I loved it. Okay, I had such a good time doing it. And eventually it became this thing where I relied so heavily on it for my own like source of income. And I was not enjoying my time. Not that I didn't enjoy actually reading for clients. That's not my issue. My issue is I can't stand it when somebody controls my time. I can't. I can't stand it. I think it's because I'm a Sagittarius rising and I hate commitment like that. I don't like having a set schedule. It's why I'm an entrepreneur. I literally keep my life like this because I don't want to ask someone when I can have a sick day. I want to take a sick day whenever I feel like it. I don't want to ask someone if I can go to Disneyland or if I can book that vacation. I want to do it because it's my time and I'm allowed to create it that way. But where was I going with that story? There was a reason I brought that up. Oh, for like probably the last like year or so, I've booked out readings because I've needed the income to move, to pay for big bills that randomly cropped up. And I was not satisfied. I was not happy with that. But I would continue to do it anyways because I needed the money. And this is not how we want anyone in society working, by the way. If you are doing something just for the money, I respect it. I understand the hustle. I've been there myself. But when you do something like that, like, let me give you an example, okay? If somebody was going to do heart surgery on you, would you want the heart surgeon that doesn't really care, is just there for a paycheck and is happy to collect? Or would you want the heart surgeon that cares about their patient, that cares about learning about the heart? They are so passionate about learning about the heart that, like, they love this shit. That's the person you would want to help you, right? This is that way with every facet of life. And why we shouldn't have people doing stuff that they don't really love. This is why it's so important for you to do the thing that you really love. It makes the most sense. And we would literally have a totally different world if everybody did things that they loved instead of just doing things that they didn't really care about. Like, and I don't even think this is like, oh, we wouldn't have people like bagging groceries and flipping burgers. Yes, we would. Because there are some people that love talking to other people and they want to be doing those kinds of jobs because it puts them in front of other people to have conversation. Like, there is joy in every different type of job. And I don't even think like your job has to be your whole life. But my point is that we shouldn't have anybody doing something that doesn't fulfill them in some capacity. If you're wanting to have like a job, especially that affects other people directly, you want the person that feels the most fulfilled in it. You want somebody reading your tarot cards privately that really, really, really wants to be there. And like I said, don't get me wrong, it is such an honor. I always have a good time when I'm actually reading the cards. I have fun, but it's the scheduling that really gets to me. And like, honestly, if I could book readings and be like, hey, you're going to get this sometime in the next 6 months, that would be like best case scenario. But nobody wants to wait that long. That's not how we do business. And so like, I just choke. I can't handle it like that. I don't like to do readings like that. And my point that I'm trying to get to is that instead of continuously opening readings and saying, hey, God, universe, I'm struggling, I'm still willing to put in work, I guess I'll just book out more readings even though I don't like doing this, I finally said no. I was like, you need to provide another way for me to make income that isn't this. And in order to show you how serious I am going to delete the shop center from my website. Like, no more. We're not offering these. I don't care if my rent comes up and it needs to be due and I'm not ready to pay it. This is how serious I am. And I feel like so many of us are afraid to be that serious about anything. We'll stay in jobs that we hate. We'll stay in relationships we hate. We'll, like, sometimes you have to close the door on friends, people, places, careers, and show the universe how serious you are about change. When you want different, you have to demand different sometimes. Okay, let's see. King of Cups. So this is where we're going, okay? King of Cups, beautiful card, beautiful imagery. Five of Pentacles, don't like that. Eight of Swords, okay. Four of Cups again. So we really need to work on that. Two of Cups. Interesting. Okay, the plot thickens. Ooh, and a 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. We love to see it. Okay, so where you're going. Actually, let me put this over here. Where you're going. You are working on emotional stability. That's going to be the number one thing. Is like, even if you're stressed out about where you are right now, you need to learn how to pause and reclaim your energy instead of allowing yourself to spiral. I promise you this is possible. And as a chronic spiraler myself, there is a way. You can stop. And it's not always just, oh, meditate. Oh, get on the mat and meditate. Oh, breathe. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it is in the form of actually getting third-party help, right? It doesn't always come so naturally to anybody that hasn't been taught how to do those things. But there is healing modalities for everyone. I really do believe that. But King of Cups tells me that you are coming to more of an emotionally mature place. I do think in order for this to get better, this is probably not what you're going to want to hear, but it may have to get a little worse before it gets better. And I think ultimately, this is true of anything. If you go to therapy, it usually gets worse before it gets better. That's like a known thing in therapy. A lot of times it gets worse before it gets better. If you start unpacking a relationship issue with someone, a lot of times a lot of things have to come up to the surface. It gets worse before it gets better. If we're changing policy in the world, it gets worse before it gets better. If we're That's the reality, is seeing all of it at once sometimes can be a lot. But the reality is, number one, you need support. You need to be looking for support with this Two of Cups. There is somebody else, a mentor, a romantic partner, a friend. There is support that needs to be relied upon. And the Four of Cups tells me you're definitely not ready to be like, what are you even doing in this reading? I'm serious. Like, you're not ready for what I'm talking about. I say that because we have the Four of Cups coming out again. I'm probably just pissing you off right now. Your guides are pissing you off right now because you feel confused and you don't know what to do and you want a direct answer. But the problem with that is it negates you just trusting yourself. It negates you trusting your own intuition. And I feel like that's what you're avoiding right now. Is spirit is ultimately saying that you need to open up and trust your own intuition on this. You need to open up and actually make a choice and just see what happens. Give it 3 months. Make a choice and give it 3 months. Okay, I'll give you an example. In my time, I have been an online YouTube creator since 2010. Not in the same form since 2010, but I have been here since 2010, making content in one form or another. I have tried and failed so many times, I can't even count the failures. Okay. I don't know how I've failed so many times that it just, I can't even count it. I literally don't have a number for you because I failed so many times. But if it's something you really care about, if it's an idea you really want to see through to the end, if it's something you really desperately want change on, failure is not an option. Every time you get knocked down, but you get up again. They're never going to keep you down, okay? You know that song, right? Did I just age myself? Probably. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. That's like your anthem right now. You have to choose to get back up and try again. And I know when it feels, and no, I don't know actually, because we can always say that it feels hopeless, right? It feels hopeless. What's the point? Hopeless Feeling hopeless does exist, but actual hope is always available. Hope is always available. Even if we learn, like, have you ever read Pandora's Box? Hope is always available. You might not always be able to hear it. There's a kind of a hum in the background, and it gets louder the more you focus on it. But it's okay to ask for support for what you're going through. It's okay if you have a lot of self limiting beliefs and doubt. In fact, if you need a podcast episode on limiting beliefs, I will make it. I will make this episode just for y'all. And you better watch it and you better give me the thumbs up and you better comment on it because I'm working on my podcast right now. But if I make this episode, I better see y'all show up for it. But I really feel like with the Eight of Swords, we're getting this like, oh, but we feel limited. Oh, but what if it doesn't work for this reason, that reason, or the next reason? You're filling yourself with all of these stories of the past that have no place in the way that you're moving in life right now. The past has no place and no bearing in where you're headed next. You're worried about the financial resource, maybe. With the Five of Pentacles, there's a fear of, but what if I don't make enough? What if I can't sustain? What if you fly? What if this is the best decision you ever could have made? And I think what's interesting is this King of Cups, we have this fish present again, right? There's fish coming out of this head, and then there's more, another fish here. This to me is a direct sign of you trusting your intuition. You're going to climb to the top every time. I hate to break it to you, bestie. I can feel you're upset, but you need to start working on trusting yourself. You don't need another tarot card reading. You don't need you don't need to go scour YouTube for another tarot card reading. The answer is right in front of you. We're still going to pull a few more cards to really get to the bottom of that. But you don't need another reading. You don't need somebody else to tell it to you. Yes, it might be comforting, which again, we love comfort, right? Comfort is wonderful. I would be a hypocrite if I said I didn't want you here listening to this, but I also feel like I need to be an honest reader. And me being an honest reader tells me that this might be helpful in helping you steer yourself in the right direction. But ultimately, the things that I'm saying to you, you already know. You already know that you struggle with self limiting belief. You already know that you struggle with financial blocks, and you know what you need to work on. You need to work on trusting yourself. You need to work on letting go of limiting beliefs around money. And you need to stop saying no to every opportunity that comes knocking, even if you're scared. I said this in last week's podcast episode that you have to stop letting fear drive your bus. Okay. If you are yourself, right? You are the bus. Okay. Well, you could be the bus, I suppose. You're the bus driver. And in your bus, you have joy, you have hatred, you have greed, you have fear, you have love, you have acceptance, you have every little part of yourself that exists inside this bus with you. Okay. You're letting fear drive the bus. You have to walk up to the driver's seat and say, hey, fear, it's really great that you're here. Thank you so much for protecting me. Thank you so much for keeping me safe. I need you to go take a seat with everybody else because it's my turn to drive. And the ideal is that you're always driving the bus. It's always the true self driving the bus. Even though all these other parts come up, you can always redirect that. You can always get back into the driver's seat. And you have to get back into the driver's seat. No more letting these thoughts, this overwhelm, these like, I need you. Oh my gosh, this comes from this book that I recently started reading that I really love. We're going to talk about it in the spring reading list, but well, here on YouTube and on the podcast. But this book that I've been reading, it's called Psycho-Cybernetics. It's by Maxwell Maltz. And he talks about in this book that you need to let the phone ring. So let's say, for example, with anything in life, when the alarm bell in your mind starts to go off, oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, I can't do it because I'm too shy. Oh, I can't do it because I'm not good at this thing. That alarm bell is going to go off in your mind at any point in time. The phone, we call that the phone ringing. The phone is going to ring. That alarm, right? It's going to come up. You don't have to answer it. You don't have to pick up the phone. You can leave the phone on the receiver. That is the beautiful thing with our minds, is we actually have a lot more control than we give ourselves credit for. And you don't have to pick up the receiver and start attaching all of these thoughts as to why you can't do it. You can just say, you know what? I'm going to follow my plan and not my mood. We're not going to pick up that receiver today. And what could happen if I decide not to answer the phone? And you can also take that into real life experiences. If somebody's always calling you and driving you crazy, who told you you had to answer the phone? You don't. Don't answer the text. Don't answer the phone. Be selfish. Like I always say, if everybody tells you that you're full of yourself, who the fuck were you supposed to be full of? Someone else? Ew, no, we've already done that. We've been there, we've done that. And where did it get us? Time to be full of yourself, period. Okay, let's pull more cards. Let's see what's going on here. Let's actually see what would help us to really get into this. How did I know? How did I know? Confidence. Trine. Okay. One more. Aquarius. Aw, this message is so sweet. So, with Leo showing up, this is all about your confidence. I literally just made 2 podcast episodes, not 1, but 2, all about confidence. If you listen to my podcast, it's episode, I believe episodes 1. Actually, you know what? I will pull it up for you because I don't want to tell you wrong. But I believe, let's see, podcast. I believe it's episode 193. If you're listening, because some people go, what number? Because I don't number them on YouTube. I number them on the podcast client end. But Episode 193 is one of them, and then episode 190. So 190 and 193, if you're listening on like Spotify or Apple, if you watch it here on YouTube, it's, I need to go to my channel, is an episode that went out this week. I know that for sure. It's the episode from 3 weeks ago, which says The Ultimate Confidence Guide, Glow Up and Be Magnetic. And then this last episode I put up this past week, which is You're Not Too Much, Stop Playing Small and Start Getting Everything You Want. Those two episodes will go into detail on how you can become more confident and how you can start working on this if it's something you struggle with, which getting the Eight of Swords, that tells me that you do struggle with your confidence and your self-concept. The trine here tells me that you need to start working on connecting with more supportive people. Okay. The trine, this is about like garnering support, especially with this Two of Cups. You need to start opening the door for people that support you and closing the door for people that don't. And this is really hard because even in my own life, I've had to do this. I've had numerous friendship breakups. I've had numerous difficult conversations. Like, when your circle does not inspire you or clap loudly for you, that is a clear indicator. Also, if you feel weird in their presence, that is a clear indicator that something's wrong. And sometimes with people, we can have a conversation, maybe a couple conversations, and things can improve. But if you've tried having the conversations and nothing has improved, it's time to stop picking up the phone when they call. It's time. And like, I don't think, I think this is why relationships are so sticky, is that so many people don't want to be a ghost. They're like, oh my God, I don't want to be a ghost and I don't want to be ghosted. Why do we even have this idea that anybody owes us anything in society? And also, if you're somebody that gets ghosted, why do you think people owe you something? Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything and you don't owe anybody anything. And it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. And when you are busy enjoying your life, you will be happy when people fall in alignment with you, and you will be happy to let people go that are out of alignment with you. And I've actually learned throughout my life, through having a lot of chaotic friendship experiences, that it's okay to let that happen. It's okay if things are not working. Like I said, I think it's cool to try to have some conversations to try to make things work. But if it's just not happening, every ending doesn't have to be an explosion. Every ending doesn't have to be having a hard conversation and then arguing. Because I think a lot of us are also afraid of that, right? Everything doesn't always have to end that way. Sometimes endings are very subtle. Sometimes they're very gentle. And maybe it's not about being ghosted. Maybe it's that literally you are on two different frequencies now and you can't even perceive each other. Like, I think there is so much more to this world that meets the eye than meets the eye. And if you're somebody that doesn't feel like you have a lot of support in your life, you need to start paying more attention to the people that do support you and stop paying attention so much to the people that don't. And stop self-abandoning. We're no longer calling it people pleasing, we're calling it self-abandoning, because that's what you do. That's what people pleasing is. When you people please, you abandon yourself to please somebody else. We're not doing that. It's 2025 and we know better. Okay, stop self-abandoning. And when you start calling it that, you also start to feel bad when you do it. And I would love to be the person that puts that in your head, because the minute you take control of yourself again, you get like so much more peace available to you as well when you stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Okay, and then Aquarius, this also is about connection, humanity. It's also mainly about your uniqueness. So, where you are unique is actually your superpower. You just haven't figured that out yet. If you're somebody that like has been judged in the past for something, it's the thing that actually sets you apart. It's the thing that, and I mean, obviously, like, take what I'm saying with somewhat of a grain of salt, because there are like sometimes people correct you because something really is not cool. But I think for most of us, like, for example, I constantly as a kid was made fun of for having red hair. Are you kidding me? I love being a redhead. Do you know how small of the population actually has red hair? I think it is such a gift. I love being a redhead. I have never let somebody destroy my confidence over that. But maybe you're somebody that you were always made fun of for loving animals, okay? But Maybe it's the way that you connect with animals and understand them differently that is the thing that sets you apart. Maybe you were made fun of a lot for loving nature. Maybe it's the way that you commune with nature that's like your offering to the world. Maybe the way that you were made fun of for talking a certain way, but talking is actually your gift. Maybe, or understanding is maybe your gift. Maybe people made fun of your writing, but writing is actually your gift. You need to uncover the uniqueness that people have tried to strip away from you, because that is where your gifts truly lie. And your guides want you to be very aware of that. Okay, we're also going to get some of this Wise Animal Body. I love this deck. I haven't used it in a while, but it's a really good one. Meditate. That's hilarious. I literally said earlier, you don't have to meditate and pleasure. Okay, so these are really direct answers. Not every card in this deck is like that, but Spirit is saying that you do need to practice meditating more. This doesn't mean sitting with your legs folded and like palms up, just trying to like focus. Okay, meditation doesn't always look like that. This is why, and this is not I mean, our video is sponsored by Tarot Stack, but the thing I'm about to mention is not sponsored. I wish they would sponsor us because their work has improved my life tenfold, and someday we're going to get that sponsor. But if you don't like to meditate, I cannot recommend to you enough the app Activations. It used to be called Superhuman, now it's called Activations. This is like the app for people that don't like meditation. This app, every single time that I use it, my life changes for the better every time. And I don't mean like that day. Sometimes it's that fast, but every time I am consistent with it, my life changes for the better. And I have numerous examples that I could talk about where this has happened. When I went through a friendship breakup in 2023, I went through a pretty intense friendship breakup where this app, I would walk and listen to it every day. My life changed. I manifested a house. I lived by the water for a couple of years. Like, that was really crazy. Currently, I've been listening to the sleep affirmations every single night. I feel like I have seen a direct improvement in my confidence. I have seen a direct improvement in my day-to-day life and not being as stressed out. I also really love like their pep talks on there are really good. They're just, Mia Bochard is a genius, and I'm honestly mad that I didn't think of it first, because the way that she designed activations, I have done something very similar in my lifetime that helped me back in like probably like 2007. I did something that she talks, we don't need to talk about this, but like basically her experience with creating activations was my experience in 2007. And this is why I don't think there is any original ideas out there, and why I think even like copying doesn't exist. Because if a host comes to you and gives you an idea, like if the universe gives you a creative idea and you don't act on it, you should expect that it's going to go somewhere else. So I love it for Mimi, but like sometimes I'm just like, damn, I really could have created that. We had the same experience. We went through the same thing. But love it for her, and I love what she's done, and I love that I get to use this app that I don't have to sit and create for. But fantastic app. If you don't like to meditate, I recommend it. You get the first 2 weeks free, so like try it for free. And if you don't like it, then you can cancel it. I won't lie to you, it is kind of an expensive app. The only reason I have it is because I use it every single day. And then pleasure, this is about not just sex, not just self-pleasure, but actually like, eat food slower. Pray over your food, pray over your beverages. Do things that enact those pleasurable senses in you, your taste, your touch, your smell, your sights. Make things beautiful for yourself and get back in touch with that. One of the letter parts that I read earlier in this reading was about that, getting in touch with the little things to make those expand. And okay, now we're going to do, where's my little deck? We are going to end off with a little bit of a journal prompt here. Gosh, I feel like this reading was kind of all over the place and I was kind of mean. But I feel like these are somebody out there, even if I help one person, that's all I'm here for. I'm not trying to like, I'm not trying to be for everyone anymore. Truly, I have gone through such an evolution with that. My energy is not for everyone, and I'm not trying to be for everyone. I am here for a specific subset of people. Okay, we got, how do you think people around you perceive you? Is it close to how you perceive yourself? Ooh, this is a good question. If you feel brave enough, put your response in the comments. If you don't feel brave enough and you need to hear somebody else talk about it, I'll go first. I always say that. How do you think people around you perceive you? I think people perceive me as brave. I think people perceive me as knowledgeable, intelligent. Um, I think people perceive me as a go-getter and as funny. Do I think this is how I think of myself? No. Sometimes I do think that I'm intelligent. I do think that I am funny sometimes. I do think that I am a go-getter. I always say my favorite thing about myself is my audacity to like try new things and to do stuff that other people won't, to like make an idiot of myself and just try. I embrace the cringe really hard. Mm, I definitely feel like I'm a lot more afraid than people probably really perceive. I'm a lot more afraid of things, and but I don't let that stop me. And I think that's something that people don't see, is they think I'm just like really brave when in reality I'm still scared. I'm just doing it anyways. So I think like that is definitely a big differentiation. Even in like content creation, not always, like I'm not afraid of all of it, but sometimes I'm afraid to upload certain things if I've like feel like I've said too much, or like I'm afraid of how it's going to be perceived. And I, not always, like sometimes it doesn't bother me at all, and that has taken years of uploading to get there, but sometimes I still get scared if I think I'm talking about something that I know will have a lot of like backlash. But I don't know. I'd be interested to hear that expanded on. I feel like we often think the worst of ourselves, and I'm at a place in my life where I don't think the worst of myself. I used to. I don't anymore though, because I've really worked on that. I've worked on the story that I tell myself, and I think that, I used to be somebody that thought I was ugly and worthless and just too fat to be looked at, and like I had so many negative opinions of myself. Like why would anybody look at me or notice me or pay attention to me? And I've really had to work on that self-perception of like, no, why wouldn't people want to look at me? Why wouldn't people think I'm interesting? Why would anybody think I'm not intelligent? Like, it's often the things that other people said to us or told us we shouldn't do or can't do that forms those early stories. And I honestly think my perception of myself is not an identical match to how other people perceive me, because they don't live in my head or in my life to know. But I do think some of it does match. Anyways, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. But that is the reading I have for you. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring us. If you would like more from me, y'all, I just need to tell you, all of my course prices are going up. I recently did an audit with someone, and I have been severely undervaluing myself apparently, and I didn't know. So all of my courses are going up in price soon. So if you want to get those where they currently are, please make sure that you do. Probably within the next like 1 to 2 weeks, that's going to change. So very, very, very soon. Also, if you would like to join my Patreon, I would love to have you there. You get exclusive tarot readings you won't get anywhere else, vlogs that I don't post anywhere else. Honestly, I think I make way more of a fool of myself on Patreon. It's a lot less polished and perfect over there, and y'all love it. So I would love to have you there. It is truly what keeps me able to make free content on YouTube is my Patreon. If I didn't have Patreon, I would not still be here making content. I probably would have already moved on to something else. So thank you so much to those of you that support me there. If you want to be a part of it, I would love to have you there. And if you want to follow me around the web, I'm at Kloee Taylor everywhere. So Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, all of it. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, to follow your plan and not your mood. And I'll talk to you next time.